Hi, everyone. I'm David Peterson, candidate for Congress in the 3rd Congressional District, brand new district with no incumbent. And I am here meeting with Daniel Ramirez. He's with GoldRush Energy. And I just want to ask him a few questions about solar power and solar policy. Hey, Daniel.
How's it going, David?
Go ahead and introduce yourself as well and introduce your partner that's there.
My name is Daniel Ramirez. I'm Chief Operating Officer of GoldRush Energy Solutions. In the room, I have with me Jordan Likens, CEO of GoldRush Energy. We're partners and co-founders of the company.
Fantastic. Pleasure to meet you. So again, this conversation is just to get to know you and talk to you about some of the decisions that your clients are making when they're considering becoming solar energy producers, and what are they facing in terms of today's solar energy policy?
Right. Okay.
So what's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
The system you're seeing in the back, this is my house. This is my system that you're seeing in the image behind me. Essentially what, most people have agreed to when they got solar was that they agreed that they would be grandfathered in for a period of 20 years, that the energy that they produced, the investments that they made themselves with their solar would be honored at a crediting system, meaning the energy that you don't use gets sent back to the electricity or back to the grid, and that electricity is then credited to you on your account at the going rate of electricity.
So I've read that legislation, and it's basically a brand new tax on solar energy producers, residential solar energy producers, and it basically makes it cost prohibitive. And so, with any new tax, you have to ask yourself, well, why? Why do we have this new tax? And the answer that I can see is PG&E really doesn't want this new competition. They don't like residential solar energy producers. They don't want citizens of California to be producing electricity. They really want them to stick with buying electricity from them wherever they're getting it from.
I mean, it's worse than a tax. It's a retroactive change to an agreement. I mean, it's the taxes. The tax is bad enough. I mean, it's coming in at around $7 per kilowatt. So if you have a 10 kilowatt system, that means that you basically have a $70 charge just to have solar, a fee. That's the tax that people hear when they hear tax. But what's worse than the tax is the amount of electricity that or the amount of compensation that they're going to give you. I bought all the equipment. PG&E didn't pay for the equipment. They're trying to make it so that when you sell energy, you're going to be selling it at next to nothing.
A loss.
Yeah.
You lose money and they steal from you. For example, the solar system on your house in back is pretty much universally covered for the view that we can see. But most homes, when you look at Google Maps, when you look at their rooftop, the solar panels are a very small imprint on the entire rooftop. So I wasn't told that I could not install one panel more on my rooftop or PG&E would cut me off the grid. And this information came from Elon Musk's crew. His team told me that, no, don't put one more panel on because they're going to cut you off the grid. They're restricting me to personal use. So however much electricity I use in a year, that's the maximum amount that they want me to produce. Is that your understanding?
I mean, some utility companies are more stricter than others in the sense that they won't allow you to produce there's a general guiding rule of thumb that you're not allowed to produce more than 110% of what your current annual consumption is.
So I had my system installed, I guess 7 years ago now. And so I was restricted to 85%. So I still continuously have to buy some electricity, 15% of my electricity from PG&E.
PG&E specifically has a rule that's, you can go up to 110%. And you can go above that if you have reason to say that your usage is going to increase. So
even at 110%, it covers only a fraction of your roof.
Right.
So basically, every single homeowner is restricted to 10% over personal use, and the balance of their rooftop that they own, that the sun shines on, could generate electricity but we're prohibited by the corrupt monopoly utility company from installing solar panels on the balance of our roof. And 10% more than your usage sounds like a lot, but wait a minute, when you look at your rooftop, most rooftops, it covers 20% of the roof. So 80% of the roof, you don't get to produce electricity on. So before you have your solar installed and you have to have a new roof put on because the old one's really old, you invest in protecting your roof from edge to edge and you buy a new roof for the whole rooftop. Then you don't get to install solar on the whole thing. To me, the equivalent would be if we went to the coal companies and we said, no, you can only sell 1 in 5 lumps of coal you dig out of the ground. You may invest in digging a lot out of the ground, but you only get to sell 20%. So to me, that's an imposition on our liberty. I mean, to me, air, sunshine, these are God-given rights. And who has the authority to impose on that? I mean, obviously, I accept the building department's impositions. If they say that is too much weight for the structure of your roof, you either need to build a stronger roof or don't put so much solar on. I completely accept that. But for PG&E to say, no, we don't want you to produce more electricity because that's competition for us. A, we won't pay you for it. And B, we don't want you to do it at all. To me, that's an imposition on our liberty, our civil rights, our God-given rights. And I'm looking for you to acknowledge that at least it's true, even if you're okay with those impositions on our liberty. Yeah. Is it true that they impose on our liberty and refuse to allow us to install solar on the entire roof that we own?
Like I said, there are limitations that
80% is a pretty big limitation.
Yeah, there are limitations that are in place. Some utility companies are
PG&E is the big one that we're talking about in our district.
Yeah, no, PG&E. I mean, PG&E, they want to make money at all costs, right? They're a large company. They have a lot of overhead.
And they should make money. I'm a capitalist. I think they should make money, but I don't think they should be allowed to rip us off.
No, I mean, it's totally not. It's completely unequitable for homeowners to go out and spend the kind of money, invest in the kind of money, to help meet the state initiative, help reduce the cost of home ownership, help the environment, do what's right, and then have PG&E take all the excess energy that people are benefiting or are creating and take the benefit and claim that they run ads that they're the ones
and that benefit being cash.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, that's energy. I mean, anything, all that energy they sell to their neighbors. They take the credit as like, oh, we're distributing all this electricity, this renewable electricity. We've commissioned all these homes that are solar, and they're going to run ads on TV to make themselves look good. Meanwhile, pay people nothing, pennies on the dollar for it. It's basically stealing, essentially. Like, it's ultimately like at a certain point, it's like if you have to buy something at $1 and you sell that same thing and you only get 5 cents, like, how is that fair?
When we talk about these dollars in the exchange, I like to talk about the whole year. And I burn $600 worth of electricity every year. My roof has capacity to generate $3,000 worth of electricity every year.
Yeah.
That extra $2,400, I could sell that to my neighbors at half the price that PG&E charges. And the reason I come up with half the price is because I've already been down this road before. We sell commercial solar at half the price that PG&E does. Are you familiar with MCE?
Yes.
So MCE, for folks in the audience, is a company that started purchasing commercial solar and selling it to customers that had to sign up for it. And it's throughout the Bay Area now. It's a CCA. Let me glance at that word and see what it means. It's a CCA is a community choice aggregation. And MCA Clean Energy is the first organization to do it. And most of the communities around that have joined in, that are close by, they did the legwork and they joined in. And it's basically all of us individuals, regular people buying commercial solar at half the price that PG&E gouges us for. And that's my goal. I want to take this opportunity to enable a free market where residential solar producers can sell their excess electricity to the market at half the price that PG&E gouges us for. And I want to eliminate all the other fines, fees, and restrictions that PG&E imposes on us, because they're our competition. It just doesn't make sense for the competitor to be dictating the rules. And I mean, basically, they're stealing from us. They're stealing from us top to bottom.
Yeah, I mean, and if people want to help, they need to press the Public Utility Commission, because ultimately the decision right now is pending in 5 people's hands. Like that's. I mean,
the Public Utilities Commission is 5 people that do exactly what PG&E tells them to, and there's no way that any group of individuals is ever going to change that. They are bought and paid for in their pocket. However, if you can find a candidate for office that will stand up and fight for the individuals, fight for your liberty, and fight for your right to produce electricity with the sunshine that hits your rooftop, that's what you have to do. And they're really hard to find. I have not myself found a candidate that's willing to do that, but I will. And it's pretty easy to find me, and it's pretty easy to find Daniel Ramirez and support him and get a fancy solar roof like right there behind him, installed on your house. Solar energy is fantastic. When I signed up for it, I expected to, save 20% on my electricity every year. That was 7 years ago. Now, the electricity that I'm generating, it's half the cost of what PG&E charges. And I wish I could throw some more solar panels on my roof and sell to my neighbors, because my neighbor close by runs the air conditioning all year round. He has a $3,200 a year electricity bill, and it's just killing him. And for the price of an extension cord, I could run it over the fence and run his air conditioning for him. And he would save half the money. He would only have to pay me $1,600. It just makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean,
PG&E has been ripping us off.
They're gonna
20 years or more. So
they're going to be more.
And beyond solar, they're also running power lines through our neighborhood and burning up our communities. So we have homes that are destroyed, neighborhoods that are destroyed. So solar's not the only reason to find PG&E objectionable. So government in the United States is of the people, but the people need to do the right thing. And so the people need to check their ballot before they vote. And I recognize that the word solar is not on your ballot. So you got to find out in advance, am I voting for a person that's going to let me produce solar electricity? Or am I voting for a person that supports the utility companies screwing us over and ripping us off? It's tough. It's really hard for folks to do, but that's the burden of democracy when we go cast our ballots.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Daniel. I appreciate it. I'm hoping that this video goes far and wide, and I will link to it and invite you to link to it as well. Invite people to consider solar and find out what they need to do to get it installed on their home.
All right, you got it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much, Daniel. Bye now.